Communication is not a one-way street. You can't just rely on the person giving you a message. You have to get in the habit of double-checking what you think you heard to get all the information you can. According to this report, communication problems cost the sheet metal industry over $100 million a year through time and materials lost because of miscommunication. Now, I hate to admit it, but that happens around here all the time. We had to send Cliff out to a job 3 times a while back just to get measurements on some simple transition duct. The job was 35 miles away, 70 miles round trip, and he had to drive out there 3 times just because he couldn't get his instructions straight from Ty. On the other hand, Ty isn't the best at communicating what he needs. Hey, Russ, come here. Check. You remember that wild goose chase we went on a couple of weeks ago trying to find that Washington job?
Oh, do I? My butt's still in the sling from the chewing out Sam gave us.
Yeah. It all started when I made the mistake of walking by Ty's office.
Yeah. Can you hold on for a second? Listen, I need you to take this over to the Washington job site and install that new unit. It just came in and they're waiting for it. I'm really busy here. This is a rush job, so take someone with you. Thanks, Rennie. Bye. Okay, I'm back. Yeah, okay. Yes, we can do that.
Yeah, we're going to Washington. Here's the paper.
That's how it all innocently started. Russ and I picked up the new unit and headed out to the Washington Circle job. But when we got to where we thought it was, there was no crew.
So that's when we finally got around to checking the work order Ty'd given us.
And discovered that we were supposed to deliver the equipment to the job on Washington Street, not Washington Circle.
Man, we were 45 minutes from where we were supposed to be. What a disaster.
All right, now that communication screw-up, like most, was hardly just the sender's fault. Now, it's true, Ty wasn't clear on what Washington he was talking about, but I didn't question him, and I didn't check on what I thought he said against the work order. So, we're both to blame. But let's set aside the issue of who's at fault and look for a moment at just what this simple little mistake actually cost. We wasted nearly 2 hours of time screwing around. Now, given Russ's and my combined hourly wage plus insurance and other fringes, it comes to about $130 an hour between the two of us. So that's $260 in lost wages. Now, figuring we put 60 miles on the van that we didn't have to, you add another $25 for a total of $285 we just burned. And that's not counting the fact that while we were chasing around, we had 2 other guys sitting around waiting for equipment. So all of a sudden, we're looking at $500 that the company will have to make up just to cover our mistake. Think of that. That sort of thing happens all the time. It comes down to this. Either we get our act together, or there ain't gonna be an act. Listen up.
Ty's working on his communication skills, but it's going to take time. He's the best sheet metal worker I've ever known. Knows more than I ever will. But sometimes he forgets that not everybody knows as much as he does. Yeah, Rennie had the work order, but because he took it for granted he was going to Washington Circle, he didn't bother to look at it. That, obviously, was the first in a series of mistakes. And here's a simple tip. If somebody tells you something important, make sure you understand it. Translate it into your own words. Say it back to them and ask if that's what they meant. If necessary, take out paper and pencil and draw a picture. Don't be afraid that asking questions will make you look stupid. You'll look a lot more like an idiot if you screw up a job. Like I said, Ty is 100% better than he used to be, but there's still room for improvement. So, until he reaches perfection, everybody's going to have to be responsible for making sure they understand what they're supposed to do. Now, we have 2 more assignments from Ty. After listening to his instructions, use your worksheets to see what else you need from him.
Now, what do I have to do? Take him by the hand and lead him to the job site? Teach him how to read English? Everything was spelled out in the job order. If he had any questions, all he had to do was ask.
Contractors, can I help you?
Hello? Yes, this is Mrs. Fenster. You were to have a man come out to repair my air conditioning this morning?
1025 Maplewood?
Yes. Someone's here from your shop. I guess he's from your shop. He's driving one of your trucks. He's at the door right now, actually. But honestly, I'm afraid to let him in.
Why are you afraid to let him in?
Why? Because he's a fright. He's got purple hair and tattoos all over him, and a bone through his nose. Maybe it isn't a bone, but he's got all kinds of wires and pins stuck through his ears and his eyebrow and his nose. And well, I'm just not going to let him in my house.
We're still not sure why you won't let him in. He is
I'm
one of our-
afraid, that's why. And I'm not crazy.
When one of my people goes to a customer, he or she is representing SM Contractors, the entire company. They represent everything I want this company to be. Good people you can count on. The first impressions matter. When someone comes to me for a job, unless they make a good impression, they better have great references or they don't get hired. It's the same with the customers. When one of my employees knocks on the door, I want the customer to feel that this is someone they can trust, someone who knows the job, someone they can let into their house and not have to worry about the silverware or their life. I know from experience we're not going to please everyone. I've had customers that couldn't get along with Mother Teresa. That's life, but it's also the exception. I don't think I'm asking for much. When you work with the public, act and dress professionally.
Okay, yeah, that'll work. It's not like we've got a dress code here. This can sometimes be hard, dirty work. But we're in a business that takes us into people's homes. And the more professional we appear, the happier the customer is. Now, if you look like we just picked you up off a street corner, people are going to wonder, can he do the job? Now, personally, I never would have hired the kid. Or I would have told him to change before he left the shop. Sam must think these guys are going to shape up like magic. Not likely.
Being neat and clean is no big deal. Just because we work in metal doesn't mean we have to stick it all over our bodies. We're professionals and should look like professionals. I heard him say that this is still a free country. Geez, that's elementary school talk. I saw pictures of him in a tux at his sister's wedding. And when Sam's mom died last spring, he showed respect at the wake. He wore a nice, dark suit. So I know he knows the difference. That's all I'm saying.
That was bull. Lady's got problems. I don't look like no criminal. How many criminals you know drive up in a company truck? She wouldn't let me in. She calls Ty, says I look threatening. You know, tell that to my grandmother. What'd she expect? Some lame suit and tie to come and fix her air conditioning? You know, the last time I looked, this was a free country, you know? You know, and another thing, she could have told me. No, pretends she's not home. Calls his shop and freaks. I mean, look at me. What would you rather have, this or Hannibal Lecter dressed to kill? Well, it's her air conditioning. Weather gets hot enough, she won't be so picky.
You know, if you took some time to check the pattern, you probably wouldn't waste as much metal.
I don't remember asking for your input, all right?
You're just making more work for yourself.
I also don't remember when you became my supervisor. So how about you just go and work on your own job?
I don't want to make any trouble, Eddie, but you do have some room for improvement.
What are you trying to say? Spit it out, plain English.
I'm saying that your work sucks lately. You leave stuff unfinished, you don't clean up, we end up doing your work, and I'm getting ticked. That plain enough for you?
Well, excuse me, Martha Stewart. At least I don't waste time working on stuff that nobody's gonna see. If it wasn't for all your little finishing touches, we'd do some of these jobs in half the time.
Yeah, and spend the other half going back to fix the work that you screwed up.
Kiss off.
You're an ass.
Que pa la mierda.
Each of us is professional. So too are the people we work with. And we all have a common goal. But people have different opinions about how to get there, and different ideas about what to do along the way. So we have to practice patience. If we work as a team, we'll reach the goal with speed and accuracy. If we sit around and nitpick, give each other attitude, and go on head trips, the jobs won't get done. And if the jobs don't get done, customers don't pay and don't come back for more work. If that happens, we're all out of luck. None of us has the time to sit here and listen to the sort of hassle Eduardo and Amy got into. I don't like coming in here and hearing that 2 of my workers can't get along. I already raised 2 kids, and I don't need to raise any more. Work together to maintain a solid, respectful team environment. Act like the professionals you are, and it'll pay off for everyone. Pay off not only for having a more comfortable place to work, but pay off in productivity. And that equates to pay off in higher profits for the company and higher pay for you.
You know, sometimes I think they lay awake at night dreaming up ways to cause me trouble. Work quality, let me decide. Wasting time, that's my call too. This is a team of adults here. Just do your job and keep the bellyache to a minimum. If you have a problem with another employee and it concerns the job, you try to settle it. If you can't, call me. But I warn you, I don't like this warm, fuzzy stuff. Sam pays us to produce, not sit around yakking. You know, talk is cheap.
You have to take pride in your work. That means paying attention to the details. Frankly, I don't like working with him because somebody might mistake his work for mine. He's always talking about function being the final judgment. Does the thing do what it's supposed to do? That's laziness. Just another way of doing the absolute minimum.
She is so anal. She acts like every job is $1 million contract. Talk about wasting time. As long as the job does what it's supposed to do, who cares? Putting finishing touches where nobody needs them. It's just a waste of time and Sam's good money. Just do the job and move on, man.
Are you sure you're going to be finished with this by Friday? I mean, unless things go faster, I don't see how you can do it.
It should be.
Should be. You told me you were going to be finished and out of here by today. You know I've got a big party this weekend.
Don't get involved. I'll finish my part of the job today, just as promised. It's not my fault she assumed I meant the entire job, not just my part. Right? And the longer this lady keeps me from doing my job, the worse it's gonna be. I'll just tell her the job will be done by Friday. Guaranteed.
I mean, hello?
Yeah. It'll be finished Friday.
I'll say this flat out. Never lie to or mislead a customer. Never. We live on reputation and trust, and the word gets around pretty quick. When one of my people talks to a customer, it's me talking to the customer. Some people can live with themselves when they lie. I can't. If a customer is pressuring one of my workers about a scheduling matter or something else they don't know anything about, then they should call Ty or me. That's why we're here. But one other thing. Some customers can be really rude. They'll really badger you, but you can't take them out back and clean their clocks. Ty, everybody here knows we can't beat up the customers, right? Yeah, good. But you don't have to put up with abuse. If a customer starts ragging on you, politely tell him that you have to check in, then walk away and give your foreman a call.
It doesn't matter who you are. You don't make promises to customers you can't guarantee. Now, someone swore that we'd be out of there by Friday. It wasn't me, it wasn't Sam. That doesn't leave too many others, does it? You know, back when we bid on the job, the customer never mentioned the party, or I would have told her, sorry, but That's cutting it too close. Why in the world did I ever want to be a foreman?
I've been in these situations. No matter what you say, you can't win. Customers don't understand. We don't call the shots. What was Cliff supposed to do? The customer's busting his chops. He thought maybe the job would be finished. They say keep the customer happy. He did. Now he's in hot water.
I walked into an ambush. I told the customer the truth, that the job could take us into early next week, and I got jumped. I didn't lie to the customer. I don't own the business. I don't do the scheduling. The customer's furious, and I'm just standing there looking stupid because I don't know what anybody else said. I hate this part of the job. Just let me do my work. I turned it over to Ty.
This is going to stop. You know I'm not a whiner. When I came on board here, Sam said that if anybody ever gave me any trouble, to tell him. But I don't want it to go that far. That's why I came to you.
It's just a picture. Look, Amy, they like you. I don't think anybody is out to get you. They think of you as one of the guys. In a way, it's a compliment.
I thought of that before, which is why I've put up with their macho crap. But this is over the line. This is personal. And what's written on it is really offensive.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Any idea who did it?
No, it was in one of the open lockers. Whoever put it there wanted me to see it.
I'll look into it, and I'll get back to you.
It goes without saying we should respect one another. I've been around long enough to know what happens out on the floor and on the jobs. Everybody has to prove themselves. There's always been hazing, there probably always will be. But if it starts getting nasty, if it's intended to hurt, then I gotta step in. If you show disrespect for one of my workers, or a customer, you better convince me that it was just a stupid mistake and it'll never happen again. Otherwise, I have no time for you. I was involved with hiring everybody, and if they weren't worth respect, they wouldn't be here. When all else fails, remember the golden rule. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. It's worked for a couple of thousand years. Still does.
Is this a great job or what? Now I gotta play detective and find out who the perp is. I bet you a week's pay, here's what I'm gonna hear. It was only a joke. I didn't mean any disrespect. If she can't stand the heat, she should stay out of the kitchen. Something like that. If people would spend more time working instead of thinking of ways to mess up my day, we'd all have job security for a lifetime.
Jeez, all this fuss over a picture of a naked chick. I don't get it. It wasn't porn or anything weird. It was just a good-natured joke. I wasn't trying to rattle Amy. Well, maybe a little. Anyway, I thought she could take a joke, but the way she acted, running to Ty, now I'm sort of glad I did it. Besides, the other day she ratted me out for misleading a customer. I guess you could call it inadvertent payback. Oh.
No, I didn't see it. And I didn't have anything to do with it. But I don't think you should go crying to the boss with every little problem. You handle it the way any of us would. You ask around, you find out who did it, and you deal with it. Look, most of the guys accept Amy. She's a hell of a worker. But you want to get respect around here, you got to show you don't take any crap. This was personal. It should have stayed personal.
No, I didn't actually get to see the picture. Amy tore it down before I had the chance, but from what I hear, it was a centerfold that somebody wrote something on that was pretty bad. But what the heck? Around here, everybody has to prove himself or herself. It does sound like that thing went too far. That was kind of a cheap shot. Whoever did it should be a man. Own up. Apologize. Get it over with.
Hey, Russ, look, when you get a minute, take care of that for me, all right?
What do you mean take care of it? What do you want me to do?
It means put it up.
Me to put it up?
Yeah,
Why
I want
don't
you
you
to
put it up?
Hey, look, man, we cover for your ass around here. I want you to go put up the
Listen,
stuff.
you got a problem with the work that I do in this shop? You got a problem? Then talk to somebody who is my boss.
Well, yeah,
and
I
quit
do have a
acting
problem.
like you are
I do
my
have a
boss,
problem with
because
that,
you're
man.
not my
You
boss.
don't need no noise when
Everybody
you
else-
just put it up.
Everybody else covering my ass. What are you talking about? Like I'm some kind
That's
of
because you
lazy
can't
ass
get
that
in
spit
here on
people's
time,
ass.
man.
Oh
We
man,
covered
give me a
Put the shit up.
Give me a break. You cover for my. Where do you get that, man?
I know I'm not as close to the guys as I used to be before we got this big. But when I heard what happened, I felt like somebody kicked me in the stomach. If I was in Rennie's place, I don't think I could get out of bed, much less come to work. I know that when something is really bugging me, I have to try hard not to let innocent people suffer the consequences. I'm not always successful. I can be a royal pain at times. My people know that when I act like a jerk, there's probably something big going on. Ty says that they joke about deadline Malloy when they got a tough deadline for completing a job or submitting a bid. I tend to focus intently on reaching the finish line. During those times, I'm told that I sometimes lack my usual charm. Everybody has bad days. When we work as a team, sometimes you have to give some jerk the benefit of the doubt, especially if it's not how that person normally acts. What we've been doing with Rennie so far is called empathy. We all know down deep that if Keela was our sister, we'd pretty much be lashing out the same way. So we're walking softly. Empathy doesn't cure everything. There's gonna be flare-ups, like today. But if Rennie had been acting like that for no reason, he'd have been out of here. He's trying to tough it out, but like Amy says, I think he needs to talk to somebody. Whatever he's doing doesn't seem to be working.
I'm trying to get some work done, and I hear these guys shouting. Sounds like it's getting ugly, so I step out onto the floor, and there they are, toe to toe, ready to start throwing punches. I told them to stop being jerks and knock it off. Russ didn't say much, but you could see that he was about to explode. So I took him aside to cool him down. I told Russ to go easy on Rennie. Are you aware?
Okay?
are
Because
you
I'm under a
aware-
lot of pressure.
Listen to
Okay?
me. Are you aware that he's got some personal problems at home?
Yes, I know. Yes.
All right, so then I think you got to cut the guy a little slack. When I asked what the problem was, Rennie said he was sick and tired of cleaning up Russ's mess.
What's the problem, Ty? I mean, we cover for him all the time.
Why do you feel you have to cover for him?
I mean,
Let him do his job.
We work together here in the shop. We're trying to work together.
Does he? All right, does he not do his job?
Well, yeah, most of the time, yeah, he does his job. But you know he came.
This thing with his sister really messed up his mind. He can't let it go. Everybody knows about it.
Rennie's been like this for over a month. It's awful what happened to his sister, and I hope they fry the creep. I've been going out of my way to cut him some slack. We all have. Maybe he should see somebody, you know? I'd like to help, but I don't even know how to talk to him about it. I mean, how many times can you say, hey man, I'm sorry?
I feel for Rennie, honest. I mean, what he's been going through, I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. But there's only so much you can take, you know? And then you stop feeling sorry for the guy and tell him to shut the hell up. I mean, he needs help, I'll help him. He wants a fight, he's got it. It doesn't matter who it is, nobody's gonna bust my cojones for something I didn't do.
Written instructions are vital forms of communication in the sheet metal trade. On any job, large or small, different documents are passed from one worker to the next. The clarity and accuracy of these directions can make the difference between a job done well and a job done poorly. Take a look at this cut list. From the information provided, could you complete this job correctly? Effective communication is not always easy in a busy sheet metal shop. Every day we work with loud machines and metal, busy people, and noisy tools. If you were to receive instructions for a job right now, would you understand exactly what needed to be done?
Each shop seems to have just a little bit of a different system on how they're going to do things. So you have to get the person oriented to the system you're going to have, and that means communication. So we have here about 5, 6, maybe 7 different sketchers, and sometimes we need to get them all in line to where everybody is being able to communicate with each other. And like I said, I'm kind of like the last line of defense. I'm the one who takes a look at it and has to interpret what they're putting on the print and then taking that off and make it into individual fittings. When mistakes happen, it's usually because of poor communication, not because of lack of skills. So we still have to keep upgrading on the communication part. And it is amazing what little small thing can go wrong just because someone does not quite understand what the other person's trying to get across. And on the huge jobs, it starts even with the very top, talking with the foremans, the general foremans, the superintendents as to how we're going to do this job. Some of the jobs, very complicated with the industry as far as the chemical industries go with these labs because they have over and under duct. That duct might be 6 layers deep, and so they want that top layer sent first naturally because it's going to get hung higher up, and then we've got to drop another layer behind that and another layer below that and another layer below that. So we've got to make sure it gets sent in sequence and loaded in trucks exactly right, or it can be a major foul up. So it's all a matter of coordination and communication, talking with each other. As I said, I think the skill has always been there as far as the mechanic goes. I think the unions have trained the men well to be able to make the things. It is when we foul up is when we don't communicate right, and then there could be major glitches. But part of my job is to make sure some of that doesn't happen.
I need 3 boxes of 3x8, 26 gauge galvanized, 10 inches high. Use a Pittsburgh lock and sweat solder the bottom. You're leaving now.
Okay.
All right, go down to Escher and replace the plenum. The customer's waiting for you. Yeah, the phone number there is 555-567-8901. You got it? Move it.
I'm really not trying to be a bitch about this screw-up, but when I talked to Mr. Cahill at SM Contractors, he assured me that our new system would be installed in about a week. Well, it took them 10 days. That Twinkie-eating fool he sent out here swore he'd have the job done by Friday. It wasn't. Do you blame me for jumping all over the guy they sent out to finish the job? You just can't get people to tell the truth anymore.